sab, achestata prema vibhinna dherya. Kaschit buddha swasti anamivaste, swafalka putro bhagvat prapannaha. Yah Krishna padan kita marga pamamsu, achesta prema vibhinna dherya. Kachit buddha swasti anamivad aste, swafalka putro bhagavat prapannaha. Yah Krishna padan kita marga pamasu, achestata prema vibhinna dherya. Anyone would like to repeat?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kachit buddha shasti anabhivaste, safalaka putro bhagavat prapanna. Ya Krishna padankita margo pamshushu, achestata prema bihina dharya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Kaschin buddha swasti anamivaste, swafalka putro bhagavat prapannaha. Ya Krishna padankita margo pumsho, achistata prema vihinna dhariyaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Kaschit buddha swastya anmiva aste, swafalka putro bhagavata prapannaha. Yah Krishna padan kita marga pamsusva, astesta prema vibhinna dharyaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Synonyms: Kachit, whether. Buddha, very learned. Swasti, well. Anamivaha, faultless. Aste, does exist. Swafalka putraha, the son of Swafalkaha. Swafalka, Akrura. Bhagavad. Regarding the personality of Godhead, Prapannaha, surrendered. Yaha, one who. Krishna, the Lord. Pada Ankita, marked with footprints. Marga, path. Pamam Susu, in the dust. Achestata, exhibited. Prema Vibhinna, lost in transcendental love. Dharyaha, mental equilibrium. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please tell me whether Akrura, the son of Swafalka, is doing well. He is faultless soul, surrendered onto the personality of Godhead. He once lost his mental equilibrium due to his ecstasy of transcendental love and fell down on the dust of a road which was marked with the footprints of Lord Krishna. Purport: when Akrura came to Vrindavan in search of Krishna, he saw the footprints of the Lord on the dust of Nandagrama and at once fell on them in ecstasy of transcendental love. This ecstasy is possible for a devotee who is fully absorbed and in incessant thoughts of Krishna. Such a pure devotee of the Lord is naturally faultless because he is always associated with the supremely pure personality of Godhead. Constant thought of the Lord is the antiseptic method for keeping oneself free from the infectious contamination of the material qualities. The pure devotee of the Lord is always in company with the Lord by thinking of him. Yet in the particular context of time and place, the transcendental emotions take a different turn, and this breaks the mental equilibrium of the devotee. Lord Chaitanya displayed the typical example of transcendental ecstasy, as we can understand from the life of this incarnation of God. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Vapadantikam Vandeham Padantikam Om Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam this morning. Once again, the translation. Please tell me whether Akrura, the son of Swapalka, is doing well. He is a faultless soul surrendered onto the personality of Godhead. He once lost his mental equilibrium due to his ecstasy of transcendental love and fell down on the dust of a road which was marked with the footprints of Lord Sri Krishna. Okay. So Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran, as we all know, it's the ripened fruit of all the Vedic scriptures. And there is a reason why all of us gather together every morning to discuss about the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very important into the life of a devotee. And it is important because Bhagavatam gives us the highest goal of life, devotional service, and also divine love of Krishna. According to all the scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam is the cream of everything, and it's the very form of divine love. The four Vedas usually compared with yogurt, but Srimad Bhagavatam is just like butter. And the churner of this butter is, we know, who is the churner of this butter? Shukdev Goswami. And who is the one who is eating this butter is every living entity, but the medium was Parikshit Maharaj. It's given in Chaitanya Bhagavatam, the same analogy which I just mentioned. Krishna Tulya Bhagavatam. Krishna, Bhagavatam is exactly like Krishna. And many times we call this Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, the Grantha or book incarnation of Lord Sri Krishna. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna. And we know that everything which belongs to the Supreme is equivalent to Supreme. His names, his pastimes, his abode, everything. So that's the reason why devotees are spending their time and energy, and that's the process which is given to us by our teachers, who taught us the way or the process of performing devotional service. So for today's verse, this Canto 3 is a very beautiful canto. Every canto is very beautiful in Srimad Bhagavatam, all the 12 cantos, because it talks about Krishna and also talks about the narrations of the stories of devotees of Krishna. So this particular chapter, which we are reading, chapter 1, questions by Vidura, it's very interesting. Why? Because the questions of Shaunaka rishis mirrored the questions of Maharaj Parikshit. And Sutta Goswami thus narrated the answers. Thus, he is narrating the answers of Shuka Goswami. But before he narrated the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya, that was the question. When did Vidura met with Maitreya Rishi? So before narrating those answers, Shukdev Goswami explained specifically in chapter 1, which we are doing, how Vidura left the palace in Hastinapur and how he first met with Uddhava. And in the previous verses, we have seen when the Pandavas were repeatedly cheated and harassed by the Kauravas. I'm sure that each one of us in the call, we know about who were Pandavas and Kauravas. So Vidura advised Dhritarashtra to return the legitimate share of the kingdom to Pandavas. But the king was blind spiritually as well as externally, he was blind too. And that's why he refused to entertain that idea of Maharaj Vidur. And after being sharply insulted by Duryodhana, Vidur Maharaj, he concluded that it is the right time to leave Hastinapur and go for pilgrimage. And while he was visiting all the holy sites, he got to know that Pandavas, they emerged victorious. And also, he got to know when he went to Prabhasa Kshetra, he got to know that all the Yadavas, they just left the planet. Now, then Vidura reached the Yamuna river, and there he met with a great devotee and friend and cousin, relative of Krishna, Uddhava, who was, as I said, Krishna's cousin as well as constant companion. And Vidura knew about the wrapping up of the pastimes of Krishna from this planet, but still he eagerly inquired about Krishna, his family members, and about his dear devotees from Uddhava. Right? He asked about so many people in previous verses. About Samba, he's asking. About Ugrasena, he's asking. About the family members. So we can see that when two devotees of Lord meet, what happened? Akrura is a very great devotee. As we know that Akrura is nothing but he is the incarnation of Yamraj. And also this Uddhava, he was a great devotee of Lord too. So when two devotees of Lord meet, what they talk about? About Krishna. And Krishna in 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he mentions there is a very famous shloka, Mad Chitta Madgata Prana, Bodhayanta Parasparam, Kathayantas Chamam Nityam, Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. That my devotees get immense pleasure by talking and conversing about me. And that's the quality of a devotee. So, quality of a devotee is not that a devotee is dressed like a devotee, wearing tilak, and and talking something different from what he or she is supposed to. So, in generally, it says that whenever anyone opens his or her mouth, you can find out what is there in the consciousness of the person. So, similarly, when two devotees meet, they always talk about the Lord. And the similar thing is happening here. So now these stories which has been given to us in Srimad Bhagavatam, this is definitely giving us pleasure and giving us peace of mind. But we should not just stop there, because these stories are just not for entertainment or just for gaining information about history, because we are not going to give any history class to anyone. But it's just not for the information, just not for entertainment, but also for imbibing the teachings which these stories are given to us in our life. So when we imbibe the teachings of the stories in our life, which is given to us in Srimad Bhagavatam, then what happened? What is the use? Subtle body changes, right? We have seen so many times, you know, people say, I've been chanting for such a long time, but nothing is happening. So this change will be external too, but the change will be in the inner consciousness first. And we all can judge ourselves from where we started and from where we are right now. And that's what is important. Earlier, I used to feel bad for little things. Now I have that tolerance because I know that Krishna is taking care of me. Earlier, I used to get worried about every little thing, but now I know that Krishna is there to take care of me. I know that ultimately everything in this world is temporary arrangement of this material creation, although real, but I am going to get out of it. So when we imbibe the teachings in our life, then what we see, the subtle body, our mind, intelligence, and false ego, it change. Consciousness gets changed. And when subtle body changes, then what happens? The repetition of gross body stops. Because the reason why this living entity keeps taking or keeps changing gross bodies is because of this subtle body or the consciousness which we are in. At the time of death, whatever we are thinking, we are going to get that another body, the same exact body. And why it is happening? Because the consciousness, our subtle body is there, which is still there and wrapping our living entity, our soul. And so many examples has been given into Srimad Bhagavatam for proving this point. So many examples. Examples like we know the story, maybe we don't know the story, but yeah, there is a king by the name Puranjana. And when he died, he was thinking of his wife, is the queen. And in other birth, in the next birth, he became a woman. And a very famous Bharat Maharaj story where he had to take 3 births, although he was the son of incarnation of Lord Rishabdev. So at the time of his death, he was thinking of his pet deer. And he had to take the body of deer, right? So this subtle body is the reason for multiple gross bodies. So when subtle body changes, then at the time when it's the time for us to leave this world, or not leave this world, leave this body, gross body. At that time, if our subtle mind is thinking of Krishna, and why it is going to happen with the process which we are performing in our lifetime, at that time, this subtle body will become the reason to just get out of this universe, this material universe. Anyhow, that's the importance of stories or importance of narrations which has been given to us in Srimad Bhagavatam. So what is the importance? I was telling that. Now, coming on to this particular pastime of the Lord of Akrura. So Vidur Maharaj, he's asking about Akrura. How is that Akrura doing, who is son of Swafalka? And he is a faultless soul, surrender onto the personality of Godhead. Now this Akrura is a very important character in the pastimes of Lord. Although everybody who had made into the pages of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, is important. But Akrura has the significant place because of Akrura, Krishna is transmitting his pastimes from Vrindavan Leela, from Vrindavan pastimes to Mathura pastimes. Now, Krishna is in Vrindavan. He is enjoying with his cowherd boys, his gopis, his mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj. He's a small little boy. Somewhere it mentioned that he was 11 years old, or somewhere it is mentioned that he was 10 years old when Akrura came, or somewhere it's mentioned he was 16-year-old. But because, as I said, that the purpose is not to extract the information, the purpose is to understand the point. So how old is Krishna? So he is definitely 10 and above at this time. So Akrura, with the introduction of Akrura in Canto 10, chapter 37, we can see the pastimes of Krishna is going to change completely. Now, when he comes to Mathura, he is going to go for his studies, and Krishna is going to manage. Krishna is going to become the king. He is going to become the prince, and he's going to, he's going to fight wars with Jarasandha, and all these things, going to happen. Till now in Vrindavan, what is happening? Till now in Vrindavan, Krishna is just killing demons in his play. It's just a play for Krishna. But now, after transition in Mathura, it is going to be war with the armies, face-to-face war with the armies, like that. So now, playtime of Krishna has now been changed after the introduction of Akrura in his pastimes. So this Akrura has a very, very interesting story. And as I'm going to narrate the story, with that, I am going to also mention some of the takeaways or some of the teachings which we can imbibe in our lives from the pastime of Akrura. So we all know the story, but still, because it is the demand of these words, so I'm going to narrate this. So we know that Lord Krishna was raised incognito as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan in order to prevent his being killed by his uncle Kamsa. Right? At that time, when Kamsa put Vasudev and Devki into prison, the entire Yadu dynasty divided into basically three parts. There were three kinds of men at that time amongst the Yadu dynasty. First part was that some of the members of Yadu dynasty just fled away from Mathura. because of the atrocities of Kamsa. The second were who were just went somewhere, in nearby villages and took shelter, but they were connected with the Yadu clan at that time also. Like Mother Rohini was sent to the house of Nanda Maharaj, and other wives of Vasudev ji. They were also sent into different villages. Because Vasudev ji, he was imprisoned with Mother Devaki in the prison cell of Kamsa. And the third part of Yadu clan, they just surrendered on to Kamsa. And they were acting as ministers in Kamsa's dynasty, or Kamsa's kingdom, under the Kamsa's rule. So Akrur ji, or Akrur Maharaj, he was one of those third part people who surrendered onto Kamsa, but he was surrendered to Kamsa externally, but in his mind, he always used to make plans to save the entire Yadu dynasty from the rule of Kamsa. So now Kamsa was always suspicious about Krishna and Balaram in Vrindavan, and he used to send so many of his demons to kill them. Now the time has come that Narad Muni, he has come to see Kamsa and reveal to him Krishna's real identity and whereabouts. He told him that the person or the boy you are looking, he is actually residing in Vrindavan, and he is the same boy on which you have suspicion from since very beginning. And when Kamsa got this guarantee or approval from Narad Muni that, okay, he is the same boy, so in fear of his life, the demon Kamsa, what he arranged? First, he arranged for the killing of Vasudeva and Devaki. But Narad Muni said, what is the use of killing them? Just try to make plans to kill Krishna. Now we can say that Narad Muni is a devotee of Lord. Why he is giving information to Kamsa? Because Narad Muni is a very intimate devotee and associate of the Lord, who performed his activities as per the inspiration of the Lord. Now it's the time for Krishna to leave Vrindavan, although we understand that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, but for the pastimes, Krishna has to come to Mathura and then go to Dwarka, and he has to perform his further pastimes. And at the same day, Narad Muni just went onto the shore of Yamuna river and explained Krishna his future pastimes, and he left from there. Now, in fear of his life, as I said, Kamsa, he started arranging for killing of Krishna and Balaram. Right? And Kamsa, what he arranged? He arranged for a wrestling match and also a ritualistic sacrifice in the heart of his city, Mathura. And he also sent Keshi demon and Vyomasur on that day, because he is trying all the things now that he is confirmed that these boys are Krishna and Balaram. And at the same time, what Kamsa did? Kamsa called Akrura. And Kamsa thought that maybe Krishna will be saved by Keshi and Vyomasur, these two demons which I'm sending today. But Krishna is killing everybody on his land of Vrindavan or Vraja. But here, maybe he is getting the advantage of being on his own land. But now, let me just try to call Krishna and Balaram here. And when they come here, then I will be having advantage of my my own land, be in my own land and my own district, and I will be more powerful than Krishna and Balaram. So that's the mentality of a demonic mentality, that we think that, maybe in our house, which belongs to me, if I don't worship Lord, I'm going to subdue the Lord, or I'm the doer, right? That's the doer mentality. Okay, let's bring Krishna and Balram here. I'm going to take care of them here in my own land. So that's why Kamsa, he called for Akrura. And why specifically Akrura? Because he knows that Akrura belongs to this Yadu dynasty and is also related to Krishna. And if Akrura will go and impart this message, then definitely Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they will not say no, and they will have full trust on Akrura. So Kamsa called for Akrura and he asked him to go to Vrindavan to invite Krishna and his father and other cowherd men to join the festivities in Mathura. And not only that, Kamsa also explained Akrura about his intentions and also about his plans, entire plan. He explained to him. He said that, if I have sent Keshi demon and Vyomasur this morning, and not only that, when if Krishna and Balram they are going to save from these demons, you are going to bring them here. I'm going to depute some mad elephant Kuvelia and Krishna and Balram will be killed by them. If not, then there are world-renowned wrestlers who are going to fight with Krishna and Balram in the wrestling arena. Akrura told him that this is not correct, but still Akrura had to go. And at night, it was the day of Ekadashi. At night, Akrura was not able to sleep properly because he was so excited to see Krishna and Balaram in Vrindavan. And the next day, he received a new chariot from Kamsa to bring Krishna and Balaram to the city. And Akrura, he boarded on that chariot thinking that although he was on a mission for Krishna's enemy Kamsa, but Akrura knew that Krishna is a super soul who is present in everyone's heart. And he would really know his feeling. So from here starts the chapter 38 of Canto 10. And there are so many teachings or so many things which we can grasp as a lesson from this pastime of Akrura. So we can see that Akrura, what he did, he just got onto the chariot after passing the night at Mathura. And as he was traveling on the road, Akrura was feeling so much ecstasy about meeting with Krishna and Balaram. And he, specifically with Krishna, and he kept thinking that what pious activities I have done, what austerities I have done, what charity I have given, that I will be able to see Krishna today. Now, point number 1, there is any material qualification is not the criteria to see Krishna. Although here Akrurji mentions that he's thinking what pious activities I have done in my life, or what austerities and what worship I have performed. So Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is saying that only by performing, simply by chanting the Vedic mantras, by performing austerity, by giving charity, you are not going to see me. It's not enough. The main ingredient is devotion, eagerness, love for Krishna. And so this is one of the things. You don't have to be a materially established person to see Krishna. There is no criteria. There is no criteria for that. You can be a poor person and still you can get the mercy of Krishna, and you can be a very rich person and still you will be able to see Krishna. We know in Canto 1, Chapter 8, Kunti Maharani, she is praying to Krishna and she is saying, you are Akinchan Gochara. That means that you are the Lord of the poor. But that doesn't mean poor. Poor means that person who doesn't have anything. I mean, the beggar who don't have anything. By this statement, Kunti Maharani is saying, you are the Lord of those, although who have everything in their life, but still they know that everything which they possess is the property of Krishna. So Pandavas, Maharaj Yudhishthir, how come he was Akinchan Gochara? Or how come Parikshit Maharaj was Akinchan Gochara? Because although they had all the possessions in their life, in their material life, they were the richest kings. They had so much opulence. If we read the opulences of kings in Bhagavatam, we will be surprised that they used to have pillars of jewels, marble floors of jewels. I mean, nobody can compare with their opulences, but still, because they understood that fact that everything belongs to Krishna, I am just the servant of the Lord who is maintaining or taking care. So he is the Lord of Akinchana Gochara. So that's the main purpose. So any material qualification does not require for the mercy of the Lord. As Akrur Maharaj is thinking, but he is thinking because he is going to get the mercy of the Lord now. Now, Akrura, we have seen in the story that Akrura, he started his journey in the morning, but ultimately he reached in the evening on the land of Vrindavan. Now, I'm sure that most of us present on the call, we have been to Vrindavan or Mathura, and the distance between Mathura and Vrindavan is 35 minutes or maximum 40 minutes, or if you are coming with a chariot, maybe 2 hours, but it's not going to take the entire day. So what Akrurji was doing, he was in thoughts of Krishna so much, his mind was so active than his physical body that he was not able to ride onto his chariot. So Srila Prabhupada says that this is the mood of entering Vrindavan Dham. Nobody can reach Vrindavan Dham just by buying a ticket. Although buying a ticket is important too, but only by buying ticket or with the physical presence over there in Vrindavan Dham, if we think that we have seen Vrindavan Dham, we have reached Vrindavan Dham, then we are in illusion. Because Vrindavan Dham is the state of consciousness. Vrindavan Dham is non-different from Krishna. So wherever Krishna is, Vrindavan Dham is there. And because Vrindavan Dham is not different from Krishna, so wherever there is Krishna, Vrindavan Dham is there. So that's what the point is, that when we go to Vrindavan Dham, is it just the physical proximity we have covered, or we are consciously in Dham, in Vrindavan Dham? And what we have to do when we are going to Vrindavan Dham, the Dham which is present in India, But we should actually appreciate the blessing that we have been in this place, appreciate who Vrindavan is. Then, in actuality, our hearts can become the receptive to receive the real grace of Vrindavan. That's what my Guru Maharaj once have said while his Vrindavan Yatra. And we can see in the episode of Akrura, what happened? Akrura, he was very humble and he was appreciating so much to be in this Vrindavan Dham. So much the gratitude and humility he has for Vrindavan Dham. It has been explained in chapter 38 that how he is saying that this is an immense mercy of the Lord. Although I am coming with the mission which is not correct, and I have been sent by Kamsa, but this is a great blessing on me, and that I am going to see Krishna. Now, how many of us think like that when we are even going to our local temple? That today I'm so blessed. I have gotten this opportunity that I am going to see Krishna, Srimati Radharani. I am going to see all of them. And even Akrura in his journey, he is thinking because he is, I said, right, his mind was really active than his physical body. He kept thinking, when I'm going to reach there, I am going to see the lotus feet of Krishna, and I'm going to pay my obeisances to the lotus feet of Krishna, to cowherd boys, to Krishna's cows. Now, he was carrying so much gratitude into his heart. But how many times when we go to even to the local temple, Vrindavan is, as I said, that Vrindavan is a state of consciousness, and even our local temples, Srila Prabhupada had said that they are Vrindavan, everywhere where the holy names have been recited, where the deity of Krishna is there. How many times we think that I'm going to pay obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, I'm going to pay obeisances to Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Maharani, I'm going to pay obeisances to all the devotees who will be present in the temple room. How many times we think? How many times we are so grateful of the mercy of Lord that we can see Krishna in person in our temple or in Vrindavan. Now we can say that at that time Krishna was present there. He was present, and he was about to give his darshan. He's going to show his form to Akrura, but in actuality, Krishna is still present. Krishna is present. It depends with what consciousness we are looking at him. Krishna is present in our talks because Srimad Bhagavatam is none other than Krishna himself. But do we believe that? No, we don't. I'm talking about me, not about all of you, but we don't. So that's the lessons which we have to take from Akrura. Akrura had such a firm faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he had such a firm faith that Krishna is the one who is so merciful, and because of his mercy, he is the one who had made all these plans. Even Akrura was so grateful that that in chapter 38, he is even thanking Kamsa into his mind. He is saying that because of Kamsa, I am getting to see Krishna. Now, Akrur Maharaj is so grateful. Even to demon Kamsa, how many times we are grateful to even our Diksha Gurus and Shiksha Gurus for giving us what we have in our life. It's very easy to say, I am what I am because of my mercy of Gurudev and mercy of all my Siksha Gurus in my life. But how many times we actually realize it? We actually think about it because we are very busy. We don't have time to think and to pay gratitude towards those people in our life who has given us this Krishna consciousness. Even the reversals in our lives, which we have faced, some of the relatives who were against this process, but still we got Krishna consciousness because we thought, okay, I'm done with the situation of my life. Now I have to go and surrender myself to Krishna. So even reversals, those people who were negative and who were not in favor of this process, still because of them, we got this inspiration. Okay, let me just go away from here. I never heard, but I never heard directly from Srila Prabhupada, but I heard from some other senior devotees in classes that one Srila Prabhupada has said that if your wife is a devotee of Lord, is favorable to the process, then the life becomes very easy. Krishna conscious life becomes very easy. But if your wife is not favorable to the process of Krishna consciousness, then you will become a pure devotee. That's what I heard. I did not read it anywhere about, and also did not hear in any of the conversations or lectures of Srila Prabhupada. But I heard from senior Vaishnavas. So I'm making this point. So, but my Guru Maharaj, he was in his class when he was giving lecture in 2013 in his Vrindavan Yatra. He was making one point that when we come to these holy places, especially Vrindavan, we should have deep desire to serve the Dham, to serve the deities, to serve the Vrajvasis, to serve the cows, to serve Vaishnavas, the devotees, and to serve the Lord and his names. And through that service attitude, Vrindavan Dham Vrindavan reveals herself to us. But sometimes what happens when we go into Vrindavan Dham with our mentality to enjoy, right? So there are two things. When we are going to Vrindavan Dham for our spiritual purpose, then in actuality, Vrindavan Dham reveals us its glory. But if we are going for the material purpose, then what is happening? We are not able to see that Sri Vrindavan Dham, which is there in actuality, right? Now, what is the difference between material and spiritual purpose? Spiritual plans or spiritual purposes when we keep Krishna into center. And material purposes or plans is when I keep myself into center. That I am going to eat this, I'm going to shop this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. So that means even I'm going into Vrindavan Dham physically, but consciously, everything just revolves around me. But if I think like that, when I go there, I'm going to please Krishna with my offerings, I'm going to hear from the Vaishnavas, I'm going to serve the Dham, then in actuality, Vrindavan Dham reveals itself to us, reveals us. And as I said, that Vrindavan is a state of consciousness. And Vrindavan, the only way to understand Vrindavan or understand bhakti is one way. Mahajano yena gata sapantaha, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, which means to follow in the footsteps of great souls. And that's what we are doing today, trying to follow in the footsteps of Akrura, right? So I have explained that Akrura, how humble and grateful he was. And Akrura knows that this is the immense mercy of Krishna. So anybody can misunderstand Akrura, because we know that Akrura knew the plan of Kamsa, but still he went to take Krishna away from Vrindavan. But sometimes observation is not evaluation. Observation can be different from evaluation. From heart, Akrura is the devotee of Lord. From heart, Akrura want to serve the Lord. And Akrura also knows that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And because of that reason, he knows that Krishna is is self-sufficient to take care of him. Now, there is a distinction between the mood of Vrindavan devotees and mood of Mathura devotees. I'm not going to go into that because we don't have that much time. But yeah, so he knows that Krishna is the supreme person and he is able to take care of himself. And he knows that it's the time when Kamsa needs to be killed according to the according to that divine voice which Kamsa heard. So many analogy also Akrura is thinking while his journey to Vrindavan. He's thinking one of the analogy which I think that it's so beautiful that, you know, sometimes a person is drowning into the ocean and there is no way for that person to get saved. But out of the causeless mercy of the Lord, the waves of the ocean just put that person on the shore with the push of the waves. So Akrura is thinking that this is my position. Although I'm such a materialistic person, I am always in sense gratification, but still, by the mercy of the Lord, what is happening? I am just getting on the shore, or I am getting the darshan of the beautiful lotus feet of the Lord. And as soon as Akrura thinking like that, he just passed the entire day. And in the evening, he reached to his destination and he saw the lotus feet of Krishna in the dust of dust of Vrindavan. And he became so ecstatic. He started rolling on the ground. Tears started pouring from his ears by just looking at the symbol of the Lord, of the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's what Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, that remember me all the time. And then we get the question, how can you remember Krishna all the time? Because when your consciousness is so engrossed in thinking of Krishna, you don't have to specifically make an effort to remember Krishna. Maybe in the initial stages of our devotional life, but later on, when the thinking will become such engrossed in our consciousness, we don't have to make an extra effort to think about our Krishna, to think about Krishna 24/7, just like Akrura. And once a disciple of Srila Prabhupada asked him, Prabhupada, how can I always remember you? And then Srila Prabhupada says, what you see on the table. And the disciple said, it's your glasses, Srila Prabhupada. And he said, now when you look at my glasses, what do you think? And he said, when I look at your glasses, it reminds me of you, Prabhupada, and your love for me, Srila Prabhupada, your glasses. So Srila Prabhupada says that similarly, everything in this world belongs to Krishna. Whenever you see anything, just remember that who is the creator and what kind of love and mercy he is bestowing upon you. So in that situation, you will always be loving Krishna and you always be loving me. Sorry, his question was, how can I remember Krishna all the time? And then Prabhupada gave his example to him that with my glasses, what do you remember? So that was the thing. So the thing is that Akrura, only by looking at the lotus feet, the imprint of lotus feet in the dust of Vrindavan, he got such ecstatic symptoms and he started crying. He did not have darshan of Krishna as yet, but he saw. And in Vraj, on the land of Mathura, sorry, on the land of Vrindavan, the lotus feet of Krishna was so, cared and protected by the devotees, by the cowherd boys, by the gopis, because they love Krishna so much. These chinhas or these symbols of Krishna were so dear to these devotees more than their life. So they always used to protect the lotus, the symbols of lotus feet of Krishna in the land of Vrindavan. So when Akrura saw this, he started crying and weeping, and all those symptoms just emerged into his heart. So That's what the meaning that when Srila Prabhupada says that wherever I go, I find Vrindavan, because Vrindavan is in your consciousness. Even if the Vrindavan is not in your consciousness, so even you go there in your physically, but you are not able to see the real Vrindavan. You are not able to relish real Vrindavan. And how you are going to see the real Vrindavan? When we really surrender. And my Guru Maharaj says surrender is not defeat, right? In material sense, we understand that when two parties fight, one loses, so that means the other has to surrender. But Sharanagati or surrender is when we, out of our own free will, out of our love and gratitude, surrender onto the will of our beloved Krishna. And when that happens, then it's the victory of our love of Krishna over our false ego, over our illusion. It's the victory of all the miseries. It's the victory of bliss, anand, or enjoyment of our soul over all our envious, of all our enemies who are sitting right there in our heart. Envy, lust, greed, illusion, all this. So surrender, being surrendered to Krishna means liberation. Liberation from our own anarthas, from our own false ego, from our own lust, greed, arrogance. Sharanagati or surrender means entering into the realm of pure, unalloyed, loving service of the Lord. That is the meaning of Sharanagati. And when we do this, then we actually feel the real Vrindavan. There are two Vrindavan: Prakatte Vrindavan, manifest Vrindavan; Aprakat Vrindavan, unmanifested Vrindavan. So those people who just go with their material motives, they see Prakatte Vrindavan. That means manifested Vrindavan, and we will see pigs, we will see open sewer system, we will see dust, and we will see so many other material things, and we will see why they are not taking care of this, right? But when we go with our spiritual vision, spiritual plan, with our surrender to Krishna, then what we see? We see aprakat or unmanifested Vrindavan. In just few minutes, I will just stop here. I will just stop in after narrating one story. So these are some of the lessons which we can imbibe in our life from the teachings or from the life of Akrurji or Akrur Maharaj. Now, as I said, the surrender and the two Vrindavan, manifest Vrindavan and unmanifest Vrindavan. So there is a story of one of our teachers. His name is Shyamananda Pandit. And what happened? Shyamananda Pandit, he used to sweep the roads, not the roads, he used to sweep Nidhivan. There is one forest in Vrindavan. He used to sweep the roads there, used to chant so many rounds in a day, Shyamananda Pandit. Earlier, his name was Dukhi Krishna, and his name was given to him by his spiritual master, who was Hriday Chaitanya. His name was Hriday Chaitanya. His spiritual master, Shyamananda Prabhu's Shyamananda Prabhu's guru was Hriday Chaitanya. And his name was Dukhi Krishna. And what he used to, he came to live in Vrindavan about 450 years ago, right? So he used to sweep the roads of Nidhivan every day, right? And used to chant so many rounds. And also he used to sweep the whole area of Sreva Kunj. So once what happened, he was sweeping and he saw one anklet, small anklet, and he thought that this is such a beautiful little ankle bracelet or anklet. He saw, and then he understood that, this is a very special anklet. Doesn't feel that it belongs to material world, or doesn't think that it is, material, this anklet. So he kept that anklet with him. And then Lalita Devi, who is uh, a very dear friend of Srimati Radha, she disguised herself and came, and she went to Shamananda and he asked, "Did you see any anklet here? I'm looking for it. And my dear friend, she lost it here." And then Shamananda Prabhu said, "Yes, yes, I have seen." And then she said, "Okay, give it back to me." But he said, "No, I myself will give it to your friend." So what happened? Lalita Devi brought Dukhi Krishna into the inner realm of Aprakatya Vrindavan or unmanifest Vrindavan, which we cannot see with our naked eyes. So Dukhi Krishna went inside and he realized that now he had the form of a gopi, and his name was Kanak Manjari. And Lalita Sakhi brought this little gopi to Srimati Radha. And Srimati Radharani took that anklet and pushed it on the forehead of Shamananda and made a tilak and gave him the name Shamananda. And also Srimati Radharani, out of her mercy, she gave a deity of Krishna named Sham Sundar to Shamananda. Why his name was Shamananda? Because one who gives pleasure to Shama, Srimati Radharani, right? And he got this deity, and still date, this temple, Radha Shama Sundar temple, is near to this Lohi market. If you go, you can have the darshan of the real deity of Shama Sundar, which was given to Shamananda Pandit by Srimati Radharani. Why Radharani got pleased with him, and why the unmanifest Vrindavan, inner realm of Vrindavan, was shown to Shamanand Pandit, because he was actually in Vrindavan, sweeping the roads of Nidhivan, sweeping and doing services, and being a menial servant. He was learning and hearing from his other from Jiva Goswami and from other teachers of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So with this, I know the time is 9 o'clock. I'm so sorry for extending this class more than the time. And the topic was so beautiful. I can't control myself. So I'm so sorry for going beyond time. And if anybody has any questions, realizations, and corrections, please do it right now. Again, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Hare Krishna. And if we don't have anything, so we can, thank you so much again for joining. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhayeva cha patita nama pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.